What's up, everybody? This is Nick, and you're joining us in the year of our Lord, the year 2019, but also the year of the chair, as declared by many around the world and embraced by everyone. And Eric, well, as always, I'm joined by my most excellent co-host.
What's up, Nick? This is Eric.
Oh,
you change it every week.
Did I
don't know when to do it.
Did I throw you off a little bit?
Yeah, you did.
This is Nick Theodore Logan.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Eric S. Preston.
S. Preston. Well, if you haven't figured it out, we're going to be talking Bill and Ted's because, Eric, there was an exciting announcement this past week. Do you know what it was?
That you set a timer?
I'm about to, but you have to tell them what the exciting announcement was.
That there is a new installment of the franchise that swept and changed the world.
Starting.
Are we going?
Yeah, we're going now.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure number 3.
That's right. That's right. Number 3. They have made a definitive announcement that number 3 is coming. They who? John Wick himself.
John Wick
came out of hiding because he's hiding from all the assassins.
He's hiding from all the Parabellums.
And found this man by the name of Ariel Winters, I believe. Found him in some ditch somewhere.
Well, yeah, I don't know much what his career was after this.
I think he's just been living off that, that Bill and Ted's money.
Sweet Bill and Ted money.
Alex Winters, I'm sorry. Ariel Winters is someone else.
Hey, you got Winters.
I got Winters. Alex Winter, they announced that they were making, because of the fans, thanks to the fans, Bill and Ted's Face the Music.
Face the Music, yeah, that's it.
Is coming to theater. Well, it's being made currently, but
it's released 2021?
Something like that, yes.
So, yeah, I was shocked, to be honest with you. I didn't know anyone cared about this movie. I mean, I clearly love the franchise. I grew up with it. I watched all of them and the cartoon series.
Well, buddy, of course, John Wick, the success of John Wick leads to
Bill and Ted.
An obvious Bill and Ted sequel.
Yeah, it was hard watching the video of them announcing it because Keanu Reeves is John Wick. You know, third movie's coming out. He's got that, and he's even in black. You know how like he's in. He should have been in cut off jeans or in a.
He had a dog next to him.
He had a dog, a gun.
Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. That was Alex Winter. I apologize.
Oh, quit!
I apologize.
Quit it. Be mean to Alex Winter.
I'm just joking.
So yeah, he had. It's hard not to see him as John Wick or Neo.
Because here's the thing. Bill and Ted's 3 has been talked about for a long time. I can remember people talking about this movie. It need to be made. It's they've had a script in development for years, and it just never came to fruition. I just assumed it was because one, Keanu Reeves was just a little too busy.
Yeah.
With his success.
And it's outside his genre
right.
of what he does now.
And I just assumed that Alex Winter was
dead.
No, missing. No one knew where. No one knew where
he's at.
He was at.
He's gone.
No one could figure out what happened to him.
They lost his phone number and just couldn't find it.
Right. They just didn't know.
His agent didn't know where his phone number was.
They're
either.
like, we have no idea what happened to him. We just don't. We don't understand.
It's like I saw a guy in a phone booth the other day. I think that was him. He was just talking to himself.
Yeah, like
acting like he was talking to people from the past.
He came out and he said, "Socrates."
Socrates. Yeah.
So, anyway, but Eric, tell me what you remember. The year was 1980 Do you know what year this movie came out? Do you know
the original?
The original movie, Excellent Adventure. What year?
89 or 80 or 90.
89.
The year the Berlin Wall came down.
Ah.
Yeah. This movie changed the world. Like I said, this movie changed the world.
Well, I remember Ronald Reagan saying, "Mr. Gorbachev, be excellent to each other and tear down that wall." Exactly. And party on, dudes!
That's the best thing ever, is that
Abraham Lincoln said
at the end.
Yes.
Oh, man. So, you watched the movie. You watched Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. It's a great movie. They travel. I don't know, spoiler alert, they travel to the past. And I'm trying to remember, kind of, they have mishaps and goofy stuffs and
obviously
stuff. The main, what is the main like antithesis of why they're doing it?
Buddy, they have to pass like a history class.
Yeah, they have to give a presentation.
And if they don't pass the history class, the future
is in ruins.
That's why Rufus shows up.
Yep.
In his phone booth is he has to get them to save themselves for the future.
Yes.
It's a great storyline.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a coming of age story.
When you think of the future,
men, yes.
You think of George Carlin, right?
Oh, I do.
In a trench coat.
Yes.
That's exactly what I think of.
That's wearing sunglasses. Don't forget the sunglasses.
In a phone booth, of course. The most universal recognized sign of time travel.
Right. I can only assume it. I mean, I obviously get some inspiration from Doctor Who. Which George Carlin should have been a Doctor Who.
Oh wow, that would have been awful.
I think he is the 15th Doctor.
He will be from the grave.
Yes.
So yeah, and then they have to pass this test. So they go through time. They have mishaps happen. My favorite thing in that movie, this is 100% the truth. My favorite thing was when they needed what was it? Okay, so there's Theodore S. Preston and hold on. What are the names of the characters? Logan,
Bill
S. Preston, and
Ted Theodore Logan.
Okay.
But it's Bill S. Preston Esquire.
Okay, so when the one whose dad's a cop, they need his keys to get out of jail.
Yes.
And so they go, we'll just go back in time and take them and hide them in this rock right here, beside this rock or something. And you're like, they look down and they're right there.
Yes.
And they do all that. Like anytime they need something, they're like, we'll just do that later. And there's one of them where it's like, what they're asking for doesn't happen. They're like, come on, we can't forget this. And then it happens because they weren't going to do it because they're lazy.
Yes.
I thought that's clever writing. I thought that was funny.
Well, there was some clever writing because remember, is it the beginning of the movie or kind of the middle of the movie? They kind of meet each other.
Yes. It's like middle end of the movie. Like, so you have the movie. You have like it kind of runs on two timelines. You have the primary timeline where they're doing stuff and things are just happening in their favor.
Yes.
And then you have kind of a similar like turn where they have to start making that stuff happen for them in the separate timeline, which then happens parallel.
Okay.
If I remember right.
I think so. So I'm reading kind of the synopsis here just to remind myself. At the very beginning, when Rufus does show up, a second phone booth appears, and they're not believing Rufus. Well, their future self.
Oh yeah, they show up. They're like, yeah,
like this is truly happening, dude. Yeah. I don't know if that's not an exact quote.
Well, you don't want to get copyright strike.
Right? No. I mean, we obviously try to avoid that stuff. copyrights.
Unlike last week's episode, which got a copyright strike on YouTube.
Really? What for?
Our intro music, which is licensed, so I had to send the license in again. So
we of course have bought the license.
We bought a license to use the music we use because we respect copyright law.
We do. I mean, people put their stuff out there. Okay, so do you remember who the lineup was that they brought in for their report?
Okay, Genghis Khan.
Okay, you got Genghis Khan.
Abraham Lincoln. Joan of Arc. Socrates.
Yeah.
Socrates. How many are there total? Oh, the cowboy. Billy the Kid. Am I missing any?
You've got two more.
Okay.
Think pianos.
Oh, yeah. Beethoven.
Okay.
Beethoven?
Yes.
Because he's deaf. And... Hold on. Beethoven. I'm going through what's weird is I'm going to the end of the movie and going through the report.
Right. And
I'm looking at trying to visualize all of them on the stage.
You did say Napoleon, right?
I did not say Napoleon.
Okay,
That's the one I missed.
There is one more then.
Okay. No, I didn't say Napoleon. I remember Napoleon.
There's one more.
Okay.
Think psychology.
Oh, it's Freud.
Yeah, Freud.
Freud, yeah. So
that was the lineup that they brought for their presentation. Here's the thing: is they had a way of making someone who, like Genghis Khan. Do you remember the whole sports store scene where he's skating and does a flip and all that stuff?
I do remember.
And it's like this guy,
he raped and murdered half
He was
the country.
Warlord and murdered a ton of people.
Yeah.
But he's lovable.
He's so kind. Billy the Kid was, he died really young, young, early 20s.
Something like that, yeah.
And he was a pretty awful person.
Which, back in the Old West, 20s was actually pretty good.
No, it wasn't. He's a pretty awful person. Abraham Lincoln, he's fine.
Pretty awful. No, I'm sorry.
It was thought that Abraham Lincoln had a form of giganticism because he was 6'6". He was super tall.
They talk about that in Bill and Ted's.
Oh, did they?
No,
I don't think so.
No.
Joan of Arc, who got burned at the stake. Though the guy that
Napoleon, who apparently had a love for slides.
And he wasn't that short for his... I mean, that was a propaganda that he was short. He was average height. Probably taller than me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He was 6'6".
He was not 6'6".
No, he was not.
He was 5'8", 5'9", if I remember right. Joan of Arc, who got burned at the stake, which the leaders of the church that persecuted her after she got burned at the stake, everyone realized that that was wrong, and then the primary guy that went after her, he got burned at the stake afterward. Yeah. Who else do we have? Beethoven, of course, we know him. Yeah. I mean, some normal people.
What do you think, Sigmund Freud?
I don't know. You know more about him than I do. That's your expertise. That's your field of study.
Well, I mean, they do have him, during the report, give kind of a... Remember, he's got somebody on the couch.
The classic couch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this movie was...
It had it all.
It had it all. I mean, you want Old West, you've got it. You want Greeks, you got it. You want the French Revolution? That wasn't French Revolution. You want French people? You've got it. You want...
What was that one?
I mean, every culture was represented in this. Let's not look too deep into that statement.
Let's say, hold on. They were all European or American cultures of the time period. Are broadly represented.
Well, Genghis Khan, let's not forget.
It's Europe still.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I guess it would be. So, it did spawn something amazing, though. Do you remember on Saturday mornings, you already mentioned this, what was another property, IP that this thing
I don't remember the name exactly, but there was a Bill and Ted's
Excellent Adventures.
Adventures, plural.
Yes.
So I remember. So Bill and everyone liked Bill and Ted. It wasn't.
It was kind of a phenomenon.
It was.
There.
It was big, in especially for kids our age. I mean, in 1990, I was 12.
Okay.
I was 12-ish, 11 or 12, depending on the time. It probably came out over the summer. Oh, yeah, over the summer. So, it was big. People liked it. We had VHS player. We rented it. Of course, we copied it. Mm-hmm. And so I watched it several times.
We had a Betamax.
Did you have Betamax?
We had Beta.
That's better quality.
It was the way of the future, sir.
It is a better quality.
It was. It never took off, though.
It's because of licensing now.
That thing we'll have to talk about video recorders. That door that always popped up at the top would always break.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was terrible.
So Beta, but yeah, and so we rented it. I watched it. It was good. It was a phenomenon. So it got a cartoon series, as anything good should.
I was getting ready to say that was the way, and we've kind of talked about this, but that was the way that anything that was popular during that time got a cartoon series. That's how we got something as grand as Hammerman.
Oh, Hammerman!
Cartoon.
That was so bad.
That was sir.
That was amazing.
That was a great cartoon. But
it was, what was that? Shot in like 12 frames per second?
Something like that.
It was insane.
Something like that. Well, that was only during the action scenes.
Yeah, it was weird.
The budget ran out, I think, about halfway through the episode. But 1990 saw the first season of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures, the cartoon series. And we didn't know this. So the first season was done by Hanna-Barbera. And I'm not going to reveal who did the second season. Not quite yet, because they're friends of the show.
Yes. Hanna-Barbera, the pinnacle of... they make good cartoons.
Yes.
Like, if you're like, hey, you have a cartoon from your childhood, you're like, Pirates of Dark Water? Hanna-Barbera.
As opposed to the next group we're going to talk about that just makes cartoons.
It just makes...
cartoons.
Hammerman.
Yes.
Did they make Hammerman, or was that the Rose one?
No, I think that was the Rose one. We'll have to look that one up again. But, so, what we didn't know, though, is, and I found interesting, and so did you, was that the first season, Hanna-Barbera actually got Keanu Reeves, Alex Winters, which they weren't big at the time, but you also had George Carlin reprising their roles, and Bernie Casey. I'm not real sure who that was. He was a football player. I'd have to look up what exactly he played in the movie. But they all reprised their roles from the movie.
That's insane. So, I don't know what Keanu Reeves was in before. It was Breakpoint was later in the 90s.
I think Keanu Reeves, let me look that up, but I'm fairly certain this was Keanu Reeves, one of his first big movies.
So, he's probably on smaller stuff for like parts of TV shows or whatnot. But yeah, so he went from a movie which took off, ride that gravy train, do voice acting for it, which because it was Hanna-Barbera, he probably got paid very well. Or at least something from who produced, what company made Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure? The movie.
Hanna-Barbera, actually. No, I'm just kidding.
It might have been a cooperative, like, they might have a stake in the Hanna-Barbera company at the time. So you had these big actors, so they had access to them and maybe the funding to do this. And I wish I don't have my computer with me, but I would look up how much it cost to make Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and then how much they made based on like Movie Mojo. But I don't have my computer on me to determine, like, obviously they probably used some of that money and rolled it over, or they got investing because of that. So,
don't worry, Eric. I am looking that up as we speak.
Oh, you don't have to. Don't worry about it, man. But
it actually was made for a budget of $6.5 million and made $40.5 million.
So it made almost 7 times.
Yes.
Almost. Well, we'll go with 6.5 times its budget. So it did very well.
And it was made by Orion Pictures. Well, it was distributed by Orion Pictures.
Okay.
But it was produced by, the production company was Interscope Communications and Nelson Entertainment.
Oh, Nelson Entertainment. Okay. Nelson might have a tie-in with Hanna-Barbera, if I remember right. I could be wrong. So they got that. Then what happened in the second season of the cartoon, Nick?
Buddy, it got moved to an even, in our opinion, a bigger house.
A more prominent
name, one that we have talked about many times. Our good friends at Deke.
Deke
Entertainment, welcome back to the show. We love you.
We do love that. We love that French. I mean, Napoleon.
Yeah, I mean,
clearly
they knew how to make a television series.
They knew how to make lots of shows.
Yeah, I mean,
quantity over quality, right?
Somehow they got people to keep allowing them to make shows, so obviously they knew how to trick people or something, but
they knew slave labor for sure.
They changed the show, and of course Deke doesn't bother trying to get the big names. They just go for whatever, and they got a couple of guys to voice the characters, some people that are kind of not even.
I thought one of them was it.
It's Evan Richards was Bill S. Preston Esquire.
Okay. And
Christopher Kennedy was Ted Theodore Logan.
But who was Rufus?
Rufus was Rick Overton.
Rick Overton, though, didn't he? He voiced quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, he's honestly.
We talked about him before, I believe.
He was a comedian. He did quite a bit of stuff. He was in Airplane 2, Beverly Hills Cop. I mean, he's made appearances in quite a bit. Of shows. He voiced some things for Duckman. He voiced he wasn't voiced. He actually appeared in 2 episodes of the New Adventures of Superman, Lois and Clark.
Okay.
Anyway, but he was the voice of
Rufus.
Now, the series did change, and it never did, surprisingly, and this is surprising for a Deke property.
You're so condescending.
It never. What are you talking about?
You love them.
I do. I respect them highly. Sherlock Holmes in the 21st century was a
fine product,
great piece of art. But they introduced into the show what they called a squint phone booth.
Squint.
That could take Bill and Ted into literature, television shows, and after shrinking them inside the human body. And surprisingly, it never really took off.
So I remember there was this time in the 90s, early 90s, when being like shoved into literature was a big deal. I bet that was part of like a funding stream that they had to do that.
Well,
for like educational funding.
But being shoved into the human body was also a big storyline.
Yeah, that's a huge storyline.
Magic School Bus has done it a number of times.
No, what was that? Inner Space?
Inner Space.
That came out in the early 90s.
You're telling me that Deke went the way of Inner Space? They're like, we see the fat stacks of cash that Interstate is Inner Space is making, so we've got to get in on that story.
And Honey, I Shrunk the Kids was around that time too.
Yeah,
maybe a little later.
It was very popular to shove people up inside the human body at that time.
I'm glad no one saw the hand motion you made.
Inner Space, 1997 or 1987. I mean,
87. Inner Space, is that old? I didn't know that.
Yes.
All right, so we had that, and then we had the second installment of the Bill and Ted soon-to-be trilogy.
Yes.
Called Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
And I'm going to be honest, I never saw this one.
So this was kind of, I mean, if I had to say Bill and Ted jumped the shark, it would be on this for sure. Like the cartoons, I get
They
it.
battle death.
He becomes their friend too.
He does? Oh,
yeah.
Well.
There's these 2 alien monsters.
Do they even go into time? I mean,
yes. They go to heaven and hell.
Oh.
If I remember right. That's their kind of thing. And they got to battle robo versions of themselves.
As you do.
From the future?
Yeah. Okay.
No. Yes, and they're like high-tech robots. And then they build lower tech garbage robots using these 2. They go to heaven. I think they go to heaven, and the 2 smartest beings ever created are these like little monster men. And like I don't know where they're from, they get them out of heaven, I guess, and they build like these scrap metal robots to help fight because 2 robots from the future were sent back. Sound familiar?
Yes.
To take their place and make sure the future doesn't happen. Like peace, they don't have peace on Earth. Like Wild Stallions causes with their music. And
your Wild Stallions kind of sounded like Christopher Walken saying Wild Stallion.
Wild Stallions. I don't know. And so that's the premise. Spoiler alert, they win. The high-tech robots destroy the low-tech robots, but they end up somehow stopping them, and they have girlfriends.
Well, no, they had girlfriends in the first one.
Well, they did, but they're more prominent in the second one.
Well, yeah, because they bring at the end of the first one. Remember, Rufus brings them back to them as kind of like they're going to be part of the band.
Yes, but they're more prominent.
But in this one, it identifies them as their fiancé. So at this point, they've moved beyond dating and now they're engaged
formally.
Which good for them.
Good for them. Good for you.
Good for them. That's how we get the Utopia, is because of their great music.
So, and that's kind of the premise of the second one. It's not great. Death eventually. He's a cool dude, and I think that leads into kind of the 3rd season of the cartoon, right?
Well, buddy, there was no 3rd season of the cartoon. Well, it was not animated. Yeah, it was not animated.
The third season of the TV trilogy.
Yes, that brings us to the cartoon was canceled, but they decided, because this was a great idea, they decided to do a live action using the voice actors from the Deke, not even going back to the Hanna-Barbera days. They're like, you know what? These Deke guys.
So hold on. They used the voice actors as actors?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. They brought the voice actors in.
That's just weird because, like, when you think of voice actors, you don't care what they look like. That's why they're voice actors. And so now they're, like, on camera, and they look nothing like... They probably look nothing like,
I
Alex
remember
or Keanu.
They really didn't.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't...
Like, if I remember right, the one that Keanu's replacement looked more like the other dude. The Alex Winter's character.
Yes,
I think they kind of
they were both super skinny. They were even skinnier than Bill and Ted.
Yeah,
from the first one, if I remember correctly. There were some people that guest starred on this show, on the, like, Diedrich Bader, he was in Drew Carey's show. He voiced Batman in The Brave and the Bold.
I know who you're talking about.
He's in a new show that I've seen him on.
Yeah, that guy. Oh, he's a husband.
He's a husband. I don't remember what that show's called. I'll have to look that up. But he's done a lot of voice acting. I mean, he's been in a lot of shows. He was in Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah.
As the martial arts instructor.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he did that. He's been in a lot of things. So he was in. He found his road to stardom through the Bill and Ted's live action TV show.
What's his name?
Diedrich Bader.
Diedrich. The thing is, he's got the perfect amount of fandom. It's like people, when you see him, you know who he is. He's very unique looking. He gets jobs easily, but I'm sure he's left alone most of the time, unless something happens to Drew Carey or one of the other guys from the Drew Carey show. I'm sure usually no one pays any attention to him. So it's like the perfect amount of, like, if I had fame, that's perfect. And if you got to he voiced Batman in The Brave and the Bold. What a dream.
Yeah, no,
that's awesome.
He did a lot of stuff. He was in, early on, he was in Quantum Leap, Star Trek The Next Generation, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I mean, he's
got a great resume.
I was going to say, his resume, which honestly, apparently his career, in film didn't start till 1990 or 1988, and that's when his career started. He was
In 88 and 89 was Bill and Ted, so...
89, he was Star Trek The Next Generation.
Oh. That was TV.
Yeah, those were 89 was... Star Trek The Next Generation was his first television role.
And
he was in Long Arm, which was actually a television movie. But so, I mean, he got this... Part of his story is going on this 7-episode live action...
so there's 7 episodes. I thought there were 6. Okay,
no,
7 episodes.
There's 7.
That's a weird number. Usually it's 6 and out.
So, I mean, my question is this one of the greatest... Yes, this 3rd season it aired on Fox, but it was made by Deke. And we know that Deke masters in live action.
What is another live action Deke property?
Beverly Hills Ninja Kabuki. Remember that show we watched on YouTube?
Oh, yeah.
Ninja
hold on.
teenager.
No, it's like, okay, hold on. Alien.
You're going to hurt your brain trying to remember this.
It's such a... Beverly Hills Alien. No.
And I'm sorry, we're out of time. You're going to have to look up Beverly Hills Ninja Teenage Alien
from outer
space Mars.
Yes.
So
that's it.
If you want to learn more. But that's all we have to say about Bill and Ted's. Eric, any final thoughts on Bill and Ted's?
Do you think you're going to go to the theater and watch it? We're going to see John Wick 3, so we're going to get our Keanu Reeves on. But are you going to go and see this in the theater?
I'm going to be upset if Alex Winters doesn't show. I mean, we already had kind of a nod to, in part 2, we kind of had a nod to The Matrix with Lawrence Fishburne showing up. And apparently he has a bigger role in this part 3. But I would like to see Keanu kind of nod to his roots in going back to another big franchise and have Alex Winters show up as just like a passing, hitman trying to kill him.
Oh, that'd be cool. Of course, they'd already have to shoot that, so Parabellum comes out pretty soon. But that would be cool.
Yeah, I mean, they would have already... I mean, I'm assuming that they got together to shoot that announcement for...
Like, as he was coming off the set because he's dressed in all black?
Right.
Yeah. And where they're at is weird. They're in like a stadium?
No, they're at a music hall, which is perfect for facing the music.
Facing the music. So, yeah.
All right. Speaking of facing music, Eric, can you tell them where they can find, like, good music or a good thing to listen to?
How about a good thing to listen to? You can find us, the Pull Up a Chair podcast, the PUC podcast, all over the interwebs. You can find us on YouTube.
We're
everywhere. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Just search for Pull Up a Chair. On Twitter, it's at Pull Up a Chair Pod. You can find us on all the podcasting apps. Just search for Pull Up a Chair, and including Apple's, iTunes. What else we got, Nick? I think that's about it. I think that'll do.
You think that's it?
And we have our own website. puckpodcast.website, pucpodcast.website. Why website? I don't know. So, there we go.
And I want to leave you with these final words from a great man, from an even better movie. 87 minutes ago, we, your forefathers, were brought forth upon a most excellent adventure, conceived by our new friends, Bill and Ted. These two great gentlemen are dedicated to the proposition, which was true in my time just as it's true today. Be excellent to each other. And party on, dudes!